Hello there, welcome along. This is Business Connections Live. It is edition number 36. It's great to have your company. We are absolutely live on this Wednesday evening. What a lovely weather we're having at the moment. That kind of dates it, doesn't it? We've had our summer. It lasted 2 days and then we're in the middle of July. Hey, listen, it's great to have you with us tonight. We've got a great show lined up for you, as always. Now, if you're a small to medium scale enterprise and you've been saying to yourself, geez, you know, I really do need to sort out funding, or I want to get my business into a position where I can actually sell it, or if you just want to get it on the right track, maybe business plans and things like that, but you need someone to talk to, someone who's actually going to tell you the right way to put it together, how you should be prepared for instance, if you're actually talking to maybe a dragon or an angel or whatever. What do you say to them? What do you say to them when you're standing there? I mean, we were up at the business show last week and there was a whole host of different companies up there. A lot of people give intuition when it comes to how you should approach funding, how you get it, and how you present your business to someone that you want to fund it from. My guest this evening is Helene Panzarino. She is it says here, so don't be offended, a highly successful business advisor and consultant, expert at pulling together financial plans for SMEs. Helene, it's lovely to have you with us this evening.
It's wonderful to be here.
It's an interesting area that you're actually in, and I would imagine that over the past couple of years there's been a bit of a shortage of funding for small to medium scale enterprises when they've gone out looking for it. Or has it just been hiding? The money's always been there, it's just been hiding. Well, tell us a little bit about what you do and a little bit about your background as well.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I think everyone will say the banks aren't lending, I can't find any money, there's no money out there. But in fact, some of the work that I've done over the last 18 months, where I've helped over 150 odd companies access roughly £50 million, tells me that there's money out there. So, you know, in my own life, I've had my own businesses that I've run and I've sold and I've funded in different ways, with some with debt and some with equity. And so I then went on to help other people do the same thing. But in the past 18 months, been really focused on the SM of the SME, so probably that borderline, not really, really small, you know, in your home and kitchen table, where we've had 20 years of help for them, but moving it on a little bit more to the people that actually are the next level down in terms of contributing to UK GDP from the very large companies who now really need help. And most of them need help and a bit of education and support and confidence in how to access funds.
Do you think the news that we've heard then has actually been slightly weighted towards the fact that really what we're talking about are the very small businesses that really aren't set up properly to get that additional funding and are really just looking for some equity to be put into the business so they can continue on a day-by-day basis? And the actual bigger firms and the ones that you've been dealing with, that money's always been there, and to a certain extent, you know, if they've set themselves up right, if they've got their business plan right, they're going to be able to actually get the funding or the equity, or be able to sell the business if they need to.
I think absolutely. I mean, we can always say, you know, there's always money there if you're deserving of the money. We've got a lot of people who just set something up that was a hobby and it became a business. There was no planning involved. There was no thought into how much money do I actually need to set this up for a period of time before I can generate working capital. My first business happened to me the same way. An opportunity presented itself. I hadn't really planned it, but I had financial background so I could help myself through it.
Well, I was going to ask you, just so that we can sort of put our stake in the sand, tell us a little bit about your financial background, and tell us a little bit about your background in general. What gives you the experience and the knowledge to be able to advise maybe multi-million-pound organisations on the best way for them to raise finance?
Yeah, for better or for worse, and I say this with my hands up, I did start in banking.
I knew you were going to say that.
Many, many years ago, I was a child. No. In the early 80s, I did start in banking because I was meant to be a lawyer as a child of an immigrant, but then I woke up one day thinking, I don't really want to be a lawyer, but I knew
and you wanted to be a banker instead.
Exactly, which gave me a great grounding in finance. And that was in New York. And when I came to the UK 30 years ago, there was a company that was looking for someone to run their overseas organization. Didn't really know what I was doing. I thought, I'll get on board there, I'll learn how to run a business. In the 8 years that I worked for them, I think I learned every right way, wrong way, sideways. And then I set up my first business, which I sold a few years later. And then I set up my second business, which I sold a few years later.
So you actually really get it then. You understand what it's like to start a business, a small business, and to grow it. So you see, you've seen the problems. A lot of the time that you hear when you're listening to politicians and people on the television, they're talking about we're going to create jobs, we're going to do that, we're going to do this. And many of these people have never ever run a business in their lives, and they wouldn't know a P&L if it came along and it hit them on the nose. So, so that must be a real problem that you see sometimes when you're out there, that inexperience is actually in business as well, isn't it?
You know, I've delivered business advice and support over the last, say, 16 years. On every program or service that there ever was that was publicly funded and privately delivered alongside doing private work. If you haven't sat in that seat, it's very difficult to understand what it's like, what's happening to the SME owner, you know, what's happening to their relationships, what's happening when they're on the brink of insolvency but they don't even know it, what's happening when they don't know how much or what kind of money they need to get, but they know they need to pay people. It's a very frightening place sometimes, and a lot of the services are designed by people who have not sat in that seat. Some are better, some are worse, some are delivered by people like myself who've been there and who understand it. And I've failed and I succeeded, and I've put my relationship in jeopardy, and I've got very little sleep and put my health on the line. I've done all the classic things, and then I learned how to do it the right way.
And now you're doing, and now of course you're doing it for other people. Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do in just a moment. We're going to look at the big mistakes, the initial big mistakes that people make when it comes to looking for the financing. But we're not just going to be talking about looking for financing. We're going to be looking at how to maybe set your company up for your exit plan.
Yeah.
And I know we've only got 40 minutes or an hour or so to actually do this in. So we're going to be looking at that, and we're going to be looking at some other areas as well. There's small businesses, well, business owners, not small businesses. It's business owners they should be aware of. And, you know, you may grow to a particular stage, you may be off a particular stage that an angel would be interested in you. Is maybe going after finance going to be the right way? It's questions like that that we want to find out.
You know, different businesses and different sectors at different life stages go for different kinds of funding. I do a lot in the technology area. That's an earlier stage to angel financing because they're on a very high growth trajectory. Hopefully, not all of them are just going to sell out in 3 or 4 or 5 years, and they'll create some sustainable businesses with jobs and long-term wealth creation for the country. But they might get there earlier, where other businesses go through a cycle where they may be 5 or 6 or 7 years into it. They've kind of plateaued, and they've got a bit complacent, and they don't really understand that they need to stop, take stock. How do I do that? And how do I see what is my next level? How do I bump up to the next level? Is it funding an acquisition? Is it taking on a new country, for example, if I export? Is it developing new products? So this is where they really need to get the help, objective help. You can't do it in your own heads because you're in the business.
Just define for us a little bit as well, because we're going to be using terminology here, and some of the businesses and some of the people we're going to be talking to right now will not understand or identify with the names we're using. Angel funding, just in a couple of sentences, what is that?
You know, we've all watched Dragon's Den, for example. So this is angel funding in the main.
So that is it in a nutshell. And the other types of funding that are available out there, we've got angel funding. What else have we got?
So we have debt, which we all know, and we say the banks aren't lending, but they are. Some of them are lending. We've got the angels at one end of an equity investment. We move ourselves along to, say, the venture capitalists who come in over possibly 2 million. So they'll go in stages. We might have private equity houses who take a more significant share, interest, and control in a business as well. And then family offices who also invest like an angel or a private equity house might do, but they're not as aggressive about your selling the company and getting their pound back, as it were.
There is this worry all the time, and you see this with the angel investment on Dragon's Den, where we get to a stage, and we must move on in just a moment, but where you get to a stage and they're made an offer and they say we want 25% of your business or 30% of your business. First of all, we sometimes have a ridiculous valuation of the businesses. So we're talking about millions of pounds worth of a valueless company. And then we talk about these high percentage stakes. And it always seems to me that if I could get maybe, shall we say, Pete on, good old Pete, or Deb.
I know Pete.
You know Pete? What more can we say?
Put a word in his ear. I know Pete.
Yeah, we'll get Pete on the show. That's what we'll do. And they offer and they say, but what I will give you all the money, but I want double the equity that you're offering me in your particular business. And you see the particular people who are doing their presentations, the business owners, they stand back and they go, I don't want to give that much away. And I always feel that a little bit of a success is better than nothing of a failure.
I would agree with you.
There we go.
I agree with you. I think When equities first started to appear and people were frightened of it and saying, I'm going to lose control of my business and I don't want to do that, I've worked hard, I think people really were frightened of it. They thought they were going to be taken to the cleaners. With sites, online sites and places like Angel's Den, for example, and the crowdfunding and all the things that happen, we're a bit more relaxed about equity now, and I think people are a bit more aware and they understand it more. And they're getting closer and closer to, yeah, that's okay, I can give up, I don't want to give up control, but I can give up a larger share because they're opening a door to me that is a market or access or distribution or logistics that I just can't have.
When you watch programmes like Dragon's Den, do you think a lot of the people that are in there have been ill-advised and badly prepared?
It's TV.
It's TV, ladies and gentlemen. Shock, horror probe, and on that bombshell, we move away. My guest this evening is Helene Panzarino, highly successful business advisor and consultant, expert at pulling together financial plans for small to medium scale enterprise. Well, actually, small to medium scale businesses, SMs of the SMEs. That's what she's all about. And she perhaps maybe could be helping you. It's not about a sell on Helene's part. What we're trying to do here is to put you in the right frame of mind, to let you understand exactly what you should be considering. Maybe you've started the business and you think you're doing rather well at the moment, but maybe how do you make that next step? How do you move on from where you are at the moment? A lot of businesses reach a plateau and they sit there and they just can't get off the plateau. They can't grow the business. We talked the other week, was it 10% better is harder than 10% larger or something like that. And it's an interesting area. When you start looking at the figures, how do you move on? You often hear about £1 million organisations having difficulty becoming £2 million organisations. We hit these stages in the individual business growth. We'll come back to Helene in just a moment. Now, last week on the programme, we were joined by Stephen Thomas. He's the author of Networking for Dummies, a great series of books. He's also director of 4Network, and we're also joined by Michelle Turner-Davison, who is regional leader and business show stand networking manager for networking as well. It was a fantastic insight into what you should do when you go along to one of these business shows. If you're exhibiting, are you getting the most out of it? It's very difficult sometimes to tell, but, you know, are you doing all the right things when you're at the show? That's one thing that's important. When you're at the show, are you networking and are you talking to people? Are you going round the different stands? Are you networking as an exhibitor with the other stands that are at the show? Who knows? Very clever. And if you're a visitor, are you just going for a social event or are you going along to actually network and to actually make contacts so that someone may recommend you in the future and you may get business from it? If you're not doing some of those things, then you're probably getting the whole show, the whole business show thing wrong, and you are actually just going out and you're having a nice day out, but you're not doing business anymore. Let's just remind you about some of the things that we talked about on last week's edition of Business Connections Live. My guests this evening, two great guests actually, and we're going to be talking about something of real big topical interest at the moment. Stephen Thomas, he's the author of Networking for Dummies, but there's more to Stephen. There he is. Watch you, Stephen. Great to have you with us this evening. Thank you. And also with us this evening we have Michelle Turner-Davison. Hello, Michelle. Lovely to have you with us as well.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Stephen Thomas. I'm Network Director of 4Networking, which means that I look after about 6,000 breakfast, lunch and evening events in England, Scotland and Wales every year. I'm also the author of Business Networking for Dummies, which I'm really proud of. 106,000 words, all my own, which I've written about business networking. But those aren't the reasons why you'll want a one-to-one with me, Steve. I joined this networking back in 2007 as a member. I used 4Networking to develop my business, No Red Braces. I know how to use 4Networking to win referrals. I know how to use 4Networking to win testimonials, and I know how to use 4Networking to win business. And if you want to find out more, you need to ask me for a one-to-one.
And then 2.5 years ago, I was invited to become one of the regional leaders. So I've been doing that, looking after a whole region from Oxfordshire now all the way through to Norfolk. But I do that to benefit my business. They're not talking to the people that are in the show, waiting for people to come to them, but not actually engaging, having conversations with people. You know, the thing is, they've got people to talk to, and not just the attendees, but other exhibitors around. Everybody there is a potential customer or client.
And it leads to a conversation. And there's another way that people should be talking to people at the show, and that is using social media. The show has its own hashtag TBS 2014. Most shows do. If you're an exhibitor and you've set up tonight, why not start tweeting and asking who's coming? And if you followed a hashtag stream, why not then get into conversation with the other people who are there?
And I think that people forget that normal behaviour is to say hello to somebody and get to know them, even if it's just for a few minutes, to find out a little bit about them before you start broadcasting to them about what you're trying to sell or what you're promoting.
You should view these interactions, these people you meet at the business show or any business show, treat it as the beginning of the relationship. This is the opportunity to start the conversation so that you can take it forward after the show. When you walk into the business show, there are loads of other stands, other exhibits vying for the attention of the attendees. You're almost in competition with everyone there, not necessarily for people's money, but for their time and attention whilst they're at the show.
There's a number of different ways. The most natural or normal way would be to talk to people as you go around the stand, so that's networking. But also taking advantage of the networking events that go along. There's some speed networking. With For Networking, what we do is we run part of our actual networking meeting, and we run it throughout the day, and it's 3 10-minute one-to-one sessions. Having 10 minutes to sit down, you really are having that chance to get to know that person, to exchange the numbers, to decide that you're going to, you know, it would be really useful for us to have a conversation after this. Are you open to doing that? Yeah, let's meet for a coffee, or what are you doing after this session? And you get that familiarity that you don't get in speed networking. You can also work out if you don't like somebody too.
When people are at the shows, they forget that that's where the relationship starts, and actually, after the show, why not follow up with all of those people that you've met and carry on the conversation? Hi, I'm Stephen Thomas. I'm the author of Business Networking for Dummies. You'll find that on Amazon. If you're going to the business show over the next couple of days, please remember, be yourself, talk to people, smile at people, make a plan for the day, and remember, follow up with people after the event. Use all of the tools that are available to you: LinkedIn, Twitter, Google+, Facebook, the telephone. But remember to follow up with people after the event. That's me, Stephen Thomas, author of Business Networking for Dummies.
My name's Michelle Turner-Davidson from the Healthy Wealthy People Group, and also regional leader for Networking. If you're interested in improving your health, your wealth, or even yourself, then I'm the person to come and have a chat to on the For Networking stand. But with For Networking, it is absolutely the best opportunity for you to get the best networking out of your day. Come and find out what it's like to meet like-minded people who are comfortable and relaxed and who you can get to know. Authenticity is really the key thing. Be yourself, get to know each other, and to grow your business, whether it's involved in networking, whether you need to get to build your business with others, or whether you are just looking for a good support environment, or if you're just looking for some people who you can share your ideas with. For Networking, without a doubt, is the best place that you can find an environment to be yourself and do those things.
You're watching Business Connections Live. I'm Steve Hine. It's great to have your company with us this evening. My guest today is Helene Panzarino. Am I pronouncing your name right, by the way?
It's close. There's a lot of vowels. There's a lot of vowels in it.
So it's one heck of a name. Highly successful business advisor and consultant, expert at pulling together financial plans for SMEs. By the way, just going back to Stephen Thomas and also Michelle as well, Michelle Turner-Davidson, both for Networking. They've got a big show coming up, or there is a big show coming up, the Business Networking Show. That's going to be on Friday the 19th of September. You can see it here. You can find out more information concerning this particular show at www.thebusinessnetworkingshow.info. Can we have a quick gander at that? Is that allowed? Thank you very much. It's going to be at Wolverhampton Racecourse on Friday the 19th of September. For Networking, as you can see, BNI, some of the big networking organisations are going to be there. The Business Show is in association with them. Asian Magazine UK, Smarter, NRG Networks, the Business Growth Show, and look who's going to be appearing as well. The BBC's Apprentice runner-up, Neil Clough, is going to be there. He's going to be speaking at the show. We've got Rachel's going to be there, Brad's going to be there, Dee's going to be there. And look, could that be Stefan there with his Business Networking for Dummies? We're also going to be there as well. We're going to be setting up a studio at the event. We're looking forward to that. And we're going to be broadcasting live from that show on the day. And we'll be talking to many of the guests that are there. We'll be streaming it live to you as well. So if you want to be part of that, don't miss out. As they say, Wolverhampton Racecourse, Friday the 19th of September, the Business Networking Show 2014. It's going to be a fantastic event. Right then, so let's get on with this then. You've got your business and you've realised that, my word, you'd like to expand, you'd like to get bigger, or you'd just like to get an injection of cash because you feel it's the right way to move forward as far as your business is concerned. Maybe that's the first question I should be asking Helene. When is the right time? What are the things in your business that say to you, do you know what, it's time for an injection of money, I need to go looking for it? Is it when your bank balance is empty? Is it when you can't feed the children anymore, you can't pay yourself, you can't run your car? Or is it before that? But what are the things that would normally motivate somebody to start thinking about financing their business and going out looking for funding?
Depending on the stage you're at, so if you're starting your business, obviously you should be planning and forecasting out. They are really valuable. I know people say that it's a little bit of a crystal ball, but they're not actually. You do it based on research you've done and your knowledge of the market and what you think is happening, so that you know how to start with the right funding. If you start without enough capital, so without enough funding to get you through whatever that time frame is, whether it's 6 months or a year or 18 months, you're setting yourself up to fail.
Do people then, in general, not ask for enough money, but in turn don't value their business enough?
Many people start a business with no money, or with just in their bank account, because an opportunity presents itself or a hobby becomes a business. Other people don't want to take on debt. But by not taking on some sort of funding, you're actually making a rod for your own back, because you're not giving yourself enough time for things to come to fruition. And if you don't understand and believe what you're doing is really planned out on fact, you shouldn't be doing it.
But this is what Brad Burton said a couple of weeks back when he's on the programme. If you're in a job, it's pay, 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 pay. But if you're self-employed or you're running your own business, it's skint, 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 little bit of money, right. Payday, payday, payday. Yeah, and so, but a lot of companies give up, a lot of people give up while they're in the skint mode, and they never ever get as far as actually getting the money in. And it's just because they run out of capital, run out of cash, or they just run out of time. And
really, I would never say to somebody, put yourself in that position where you're in skint mode. Your decisions, the decisions that you make when you have no money, are very different to the decisions that you make when you've given yourself enough room and enough space and enough comfort to make a good business decision. So we've got people in the startup end of it, and then as you grow, in my own case, when I was my second business, I'd set it up without enough money.
Right.
I put my relationship under a lot of stress. Didn't realize at the time I was going to be doing that. It started to grow beyond, bigger than I thought it was going to be, quicker than I thought it was going to be. And then I came to a point where I needed more money. But my right-hand woman, both of her parents died within 6 months of each other, and she moved to China. The building I was in was redeveloping, but nobody had told me that, and I needed 2 floors by that time. So me being me, I thought, well, I know, I'll acquire somebody, and I'll get their space and their business, which would have been more money at a cost. But I was doing everything on instinct and not on a lot of planning at that time. Fortunately for me, when I put that out into the market, people came to me and I had my first equity deal. And I learned a lot in the deal. I learned a lot in selling the company and handing over. So I was probably 4 years into the business at that point, but we'd grown so quickly we needed more money. Now, some people see an export opportunity, and so they need money for that. But money might not be debt or equity. It might be some sort of factoring or invoice financing for that development. So money comes in different colors and flavors. There's alternative finance for equipment, asset-based lending, which is different to taking just a straightforward working capital loan or having an equity investment or going to a crowdfunding platform. So it's really important to identify what is it that I want to achieve over what time frame. What does that mean for my business in terms of people, resources, capacity? How much money does that look like to fund that? And then what does the money look like? Does it look like a bit of debt with a bit of equity? Does it look like some invoice factoring now with a line of credit and something else as I move forward?
Is there, I mean, you've talked about alternative finance, debt, equity, crowdfunding. You've talked about the whole, there seems to be a myriad of different ways that you actually go about doing this. Yeah. Is there a right path to actually take? Is there, or is every particular one, is every single one of them, or every single business, is it going to be completely different the way you actually go about funding it? Or is there a kind of a rule of thumb? A Panzarino rule of thumb, that's what we're looking for right now.
Do you know what? I don't know if there's... what I would say, I was very good at this because I came from a background in recruitment. I always asked for professional help because I was a professional that was helping other professionals. And I would encourage people, I'm not saying go out and splash money willy-nilly on consultants and other people, and always get, you know, some sort of subsidized help if you can get it. But also don't think that you can or should do everything yourself. It's just not possible. If you do everything yourself in a business, so if you're the finance manager, the marketing manager, the sales manager, the HR person, you're not doing all of them well. Take advice, and if you need to pay for it, reasonable amounts, and from a trusted source, pay for that advice to have this objective conversation with you about what does money look like. My expertise and my experience, or other people I work with in the team, is to say, you know what, it doesn't look like that now. Let's put this out. It looks like the first 6 months needs to be a working capital problem because you've just grown fast and you've got to service it. Let's plan as we go forward and see what the other sources look like. And then we have over 200 introductions we can make to different sources of finance at the appropriate time.
And of course what you're doing is you're picking the appropriate finance for that particular business. What do you reckon then? It's a Panzarino thumbs up moment. What is the one big mistake the businesses that approach you make when they walk in through your door that you've just heard a dozen times before? What is it?
They cannot succinctly tell me how their business makes money.
So this is all down to the approach. This is the Dragon's Den moment, isn't it?
Yes.
Where people are not clear. OK, so I come in and I'm talking to you. What do you want to hear? Do you want to hear me talk about the product? Do you want to hear me talk about its benefits, the features, what the research I've done in the marketplace, and all that? What do you want to hear?
If you know your funders as well, for example, understand their risk profile, banks, very low risk, very risk averse. So you're not going to go in there and say, oh my gosh, this thing's going to go from here to eternity in 2 minutes, and we're going to need so much money as we go along because we're just going to grow so quickly. Banks only want to know that you can repay the loan and you're doing everything, you know, right and legal.
Do people give too much information sometimes?
I think if you're passionate about your product or your service, if you have that elevator pitch, if you have that 2 minutes or that 5 minutes, and of course in front of an angel, most of the time the max you're going to get is 5 to 10 minutes. You need to say what it is, and what the great thing about it is the IP or the scientific whatever that is special about it. But if I'm an equity investor, I want my return within probably 5 years. So what I want to know is, how does this business make money, whatever it is, whether it's vanilla ice cream, or chocolate ice cream, or a lollipop. And you, who are you? Who are you in the team, the management team? Because I'm investing in you as people. Equity investment is, how does it make money, and who are the people? Because they're really putting their own money and their faith in you as a team to deliver on how that makes money.
What about, OK, so if that's kind of angels, isn't it,
Yeah.
and our equity investors, what about if we are going to the bank and the bank only wants to find out whether we can repay the debt or not after they've checked us out? So, but a lot of people will go to the bank, and if they say no, if they're told no, they won't bother going any further, will they?
Absolutely.
And the same applies with the approach that they have to crowdfunding as well, isn't it? If they're told, they'll go there with the same kind of information they went to the bank with, and then the crowdfunders will reject them the same way as the bank did because it isn't a good investment because of the way you've presented it.
Right. There's a lot in the presentation, and you know, when we work with clients, we might produce something called an opportunity note, an investment memorandum, a pitch deck. So if you got something that needs some visual, you only see the pitch deck on Prezi or on PowerPoint. So there's the medium that you present it in, and then there's the way that you write up the information. So if we're looking at and I think the research, people say, oh, I read about this crowdfunding thing, I'll just go online and put my information in. There is a scoring system in crowdfunding, and if you don't achieve a certain amount, a certain level, you won't go further. So it helps to take advice beforehand from people who have done other applications, who've navigated their way through the forms. As you would everything. If you went for a job, you know, you go talk to people who've worked in it before. You might, at a young age, you talk to the career counselor. You go do a little bit of research on the company beforehand. It's exactly the same, except we kind of forget all these things when we're looking at money.
So are a lot of people quite blasé about this then? Do they feel that they are deserving of it?
Well, I think they think that it's just about filling in a few bits of paper, and they don't think about the story, the angle, the way that it's presented, the attention span on the other side of, someone gave me an 86-page business plan for equity.
Mm-hmm.
No one who's looking at a 2-minute pitch will look at an 86-page business plan that had a lot of footnotes in it. It was more like a research document than a business plan.
So give us the 5 key things that we should be doing then, if there are 5. The key thing, maybe not the 5, maybe the key things that we should be making certain that we've got in our armour, in our toolbox of tools, when we're going in to see somebody that we're trying to get equity out of or finance out of. The first thing should be...
You need a business plan. And I know people will say, oh, I've started a very successful business without a business plan. You don't need a 50-page business plan. You need to know for yourself, where am I going and what does my journey look like? And then you need to be able to give that to somebody else if that's part of what they need. So you'll have your executive summary, you'll have your market and your marketing, you'll have the people involved and the financial side of it and the forecast, the financial forecast. So we at least have a roadmap now, probably for debt, but it gives you some of the information that you'll need to create other documents like an investment memorandum. So
That's one.
Exactly, so the business plan.
Business plan. Number 2.
You need to know exactly, more or less, how much money you need at what stage, what it's used for, and what that money looks like.
Am I looking at a lump sum generally, or am I looking at a call-off from the amount of money that I'm actually going to be borrowing?
It really depends on your kind of business and how it flows. Right? You might not need to have, you might need the promise of it, but not to draw it all down.
What about the justification for the amount of money that I need?
Don't ask. People say, oh, I'm going to ask for another 100,000 just to be safe. It doesn't look like you've done any planning, actually.
Right.
You don't know, you need to calculate it. Have a small pad in there, a little bit of a pad in there if you need to put it in there, but you can't ask for a whole lot more just to be safe. Because it means that you haven't actually thought
But see,
about
that's interesting, because a couple of years back, we were looking here at another potential operation, other business, and we went out and we were presenting across the city, and we were looking for, get a load of this, we were, and my business partner, we were looking, so make a lie down in just a moment, she'll be hearing these figures again and all sorts of nightmares will be coming back. And we were looking for 5 million. Now, on reflection, while we were asking the city for 5 million at the time, and we talked to a number of investors, and we had quite a lot of interest in it, I think on reflection, what I was doing, I was presenting, I should have been asking for 10. And some people say to you afterwards, it's easier to get 10 than it is to get 5. Or is that just people just talking over a wine glass?
It's probably easier.
After the bottle, talking over a bottle, a couple of empty bottles maybe.
It's probably easier to stay in £10 million of debt than it is 5, because then they really can't let you go, right? So you can't run away with that. But depending on how you, so if we look at 5 million, if you were going to draw the whole 5 million down in 1 month, then obviously that's not enough money. So you need more. Some people say, oh, I need 5 million. And then when you actually start looking at it, they probably needed 150,000 to get started.
So do they understand cash flow then? Because a lot of people don't, do they?
Absolutely.
I mean, I remember when we were looking at figures and that. Of course, depending on what time you start the business and your VAT quarter. I mean, this is all the stuff that businesses do, isn't it? You know, your VAT quarter. If it comes in at a particular time, you don't need it. You need a spike there. And it really, all of a sudden, you've really got to start considering about everything.
Yeah, the cash flow forecast. And people say to me, I don't understand how to do that. I start on cash flow forecast, especially at a very basic level, with all the expenses, because most of those you know, or you can find them out easily. And if you're completely startup, the internet is a great resource, the phone is a great resource, you know, for insurance quotes and things like that. Then you have to look at what you now know how much you need to sell in every month to break even, because if all your expenses are in front of you, you got a number to start.
And I think sometimes that can be very sobering for people when they actually see that.
Yes.
For instance, we know here at Business Connections Live, we know how much it costs us to open the door every day.
Yeah.
And that same standing cost is there Saturdays and Sundays when there's nobody here except for the caretaker, the receptionist, the engineering crew working overtime. But apart from all of those different things, you know, we know down to the last. And somebody once said to me, you need to know nearly right down to the last paperclip how much your business is going to cost. And I think a lot of people run their businesses on the back of a fag packet.
Yeah. And the other thing that people don't think about is how much is the average spend for each customer. So if someone only comes and spends £40 with you every time they come in, you need lots of £40 to cover the monthly costs, for example. So then is that the client that you want? Or does your marketing have to drive you to something that's a bit larger? And do you get £140 in one month and then £240,000 in another month? What does your flow actually look like so that you can then use your marketing to achieve that? You set those targets based on what your average spend and customer base looks like, and marketing, which is costed with a return, should be focusing on you going out and getting those. So you're not just marketing for the sake of it. You know that you need to turn over X amount in that month to cover and have some profit, and that's a more focused approach.
Now, I'm wondering whether we ever got past number 2. I think that's like 1, 2, and 3 there. So maybe the 3 key things. So in summary then of that then.
I think so. Get your business plan. Know all the side on the financial forecasting, obviously. But if you're looking at have a plan, have an investment deck or a memorandum or a note for equity. Have a pitch deck for the same for angels and venture capitalists. They're all slightly different, and each one will ask you for something. But what is key in a lot of them is they're short and to the point. A pitch deck might have 20 slides in it. It's your opportunity to literally pitch to somebody. So it's not to tell your whole story and how you got there and what the technology development was. This is it. This is what it does. This is why it's fabulous. This is how it makes money. And I'm fabulous because I've been 25 years in this industry, and I've got 2 other people.
Make them love you, make them love the business.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
It's a thing that people forget when they're standing in front of people.
In just a moment, we're going to come back. We're going to be talking about what to expect when it all does happen. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about the whole area of how much you give away of your business, because people are giving you money. What do they want in exchange for that? What are the big things that they're going to be asking you for? Are they going to be, the bank, for instance, is going to want a call in your house. Quite frankly, that's the way a lot of businesses work. But what would an angel want? What would someone who is giving you the equity, what would an investment company want? What are they going to want from you to get their return back on their money? Because nobody anywhere is giving you the money for nothing. You've got to be up front somewhere, and you've got to actually pay for it. You're watching Business Connections Live. It's great to have you with us. My guest this evening, Helene Panzarino, highly successful business advisor and consultant, an expert at pulling together a financial plan for SMEs. Now, there's going to be a link. There isn't one just at the moment, but there will be by the time you watch this, so that you can contact Helene and get more information if you need as well. If you are watching this programme on YouTube, by the way, please do subscribe to our channel. You'll find there's a small button just about there. Press on that button. It'll allow you to subscribe to the channel. We love you to subscribe because you then become part of the Business Connections Live business community, because that's what we are. If you watch this, you will be assimilated. You will be part of the collective. We want you to do that. Also, as well, please do sign up on the website. Now, I do understand there's been a few problems. There's the website there. You can sign up on the website and also become part of the community as well. That really works, because then we can send out some of the white papers and the special offers that we're beginning to get. For instance, 99 Designs have put together a special offer that we can give you. That's going to be up on the website very shortly. Just go to the website here, and it'll all be explained to you what 99 Designs. So if you're looking for a new logo for your business, a new image for your business, then 99 Designs will be able to do that for you. Now, we were at the business show. He says moving on smartly, but we were at the business show at Excel last Friday. That was a real BBC link there, wasn't it? That was like the one show, wasn't it? From there to there in a breath. At the business show at Excel last Friday, and well, I had the opportunity to stroll around there. Linda Bazant was with me as well. We went to some of the exhibitors and we spoke to a few of the exhibitors who were at the show. It was a fantastic show, very, very interesting. And if you've never been to the business show, well, this will give you a bit of a taster for what goes on there, because it really is, maybe if you're an SME, right up your street. Have a look at this.
Hello, my name is Lucy Moss and I'm one of the organisers for the business show.
Tell us a little bit about the show. How long has it been going for?
It's been going up for years and years and years. This is the 31st show that we've hosted. The first one was at the NEC in Birmingham, and it's just got bigger and bigger and bigger ever since.
How many businesses, small SMEs and people like that, actually come through the doors?
Well, currently we get between 25,000 and 30,000 visitors per show over the 2 days. So it's just getting bigger and bigger. But what we've found over the years, that we have visitors that come back and back and back. So you come originally because they've got a business idea. They then start the business and come back again. And then when they've expanded the business, they come back again. And actually, I run seminar halls 1 and 2, the main keynotes, and people come up to me and I recognise faces, they know me, and we have a little chat and it's great. So people do come over and over and over again.
My name is Jonathan Farl. I'm the founder and managing director of the Rockstar Mentoring Group.
Also one of the major sponsors for the business show, aren't you?
We are indeed, yes. No, I came to this show as a visitor 8 years ago, and I had this little idea in my head called Rockstar, a mentoring company for entrepreneurs, and I walked around the whole show 8 years ago and there wasn't anyone else offering business mentoring. So the next year I took out a little 2x3 stand, and as you can see, 120 square meters later, we're still here and we're going strong, yes.
What do you think the success of the show is then?
I think the success of the show is their volume. I mean, even on a beautiful sunny day outside, there are still thousands of people who are here today, which is good. And the other thing is that you do get a vast range of businesses, different sectors, different sizes, and for most exhibitors here who are offering various products and services to the business world, you know, they'll always find someone of interest.
My name's Niall O'Loughlin. I'm the UK marketing manager at 99 Designs.
So you guys actually make logos for businesses then?
Exactly, yeah. So what we do is we connect small businesses, startups and agencies with graphic designers from all over the world. As of today, we've got 301,000 graphic designers working on our platform. So really it connects people with a whole wealth of graphic design resources.
What's the big mistake that people make when they want a logo made for themselves?
It's definitely overcomplicating things. So we always like to think of sort of the 3 key points or the 3 easy steps. It's good to keep it simple. It's good to keep it instantly recognizable, and then it needs to be versatile, because remember, your business or your brand hopefully is going to grow and grow and grow, and so your brand logo and your identity needs to be able to work on various different formats, so keep it flexible.
So tell us, what's important about you being here at the show?
Sure, well, what we like to do is grow our UK community base as much as possible, and I think the best way to do that is to get on the ground, talk to the designers, talk to the customers. We held a meetup here last night in London, which was hugely successful, and now today we're here at the show to talk to small business owners to get a feel for their needs and obviously to help them build their visual identity.
Well, I'm an executive commissioning editor for the For Dummies series, working specifically on the business management and accounting lists. So I'm looking for new authors, commissioning new authors, looking after our existing authors and helping to sell and promote their books.
What are you looking for, do you think, when you're commissioning new writers?
We're looking for, specifically for the Dummies series, we're looking for authors who can really simplify their topic and they can really make it easy for the everyday consumer to understand, especially people who are starting up their own businesses. They need to be, the subjects need to be explained in a really sort of easy to understand, simplifying complex subjects. I think that's the main aim of the Dummies series.
Now, if you have budding authors that are watching this right now and they're thinking to themselves, actually, there is a dummies book inside of me right now, what should they do? What's the first step for them?
I would say to them, please contact me at anight.wiley.com because we want to see new proposals.
Okay, and it really is as easy as that. You come up with a proposal.
Come up with a proposal, and then the process is basically you talk. I'd have a look at their proposal. I'd give them a call. We talk through their idea, and then and there's quite strict with the Dummies books. There's quite strict guidelines, so they'd need to provide a sample chapter and a table of contents, and we need to make sure that they were able to put their messages across about their business topic, whatever it might be, in a style that fits in with the Dummies books guidelines. That sort of it's a tried and tested, well-tested method. So they would do that with us, and then we'd sign them up and get them writing for us.
different people get different things, but what I found is that when they come along, they get motivated, because a lot of people are frightened about becoming self-employed and they're not quite sure what to do, and some of the speakers are really dynamic and really get people going, and you can see them going out, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, and that's, to me, that's the big thing.
Number one, make sure that you have a product or service that you know people want before spending silly money on marketing and production. Use proof of concept. Make sure they know that you've got something that people want. Number two is, as you're growing, your marketing strategies need to make sure that customers meet you halfway. Don't go out there and try and speak to anyone and everyone hoping someone's going to buy. Target who you want them to be and make sure you do a strategy that gets them to meet you halfway. That'll improve your conversions. And number three, which ties into number two, make sure you do that cost effectively, because that'll mean your margins will only be higher.
Yesterday I did a seminar with like 300 people there, and somebody said afterwards, what's the upsell? There is no upsell. The only thing I'm selling is be yourself. And you know what? The rest all works itself out. You know, my motivation now is to make a positive difference. Spend 100% of your time being 100% you, and if people don't like you for being you, next, to sell more, sell less. People are so convinced of objection handling and so forth. Forget it. Create the conditions where people buy. This is what Apple do with their products. You don't go into the Apple store and say, hello, young man, can you tell me the benefits and the features of the Apple iPhone? You don't. You say, hello, mate, does it do this, this, and this, and play Angry Birds for 69 pence? Yeah, I'll take it 540 quid. That's what you've got to do. You've got to make it desirable. And I think the other thing I would say to you is focus on what's really important, because I know a lot of people that have spent their life, you know, in a corporate ladder or in business. For what purpose? Your legacy is not going to be defined on whether you did the proposal or not. Your legacy is going to be defined on what you created, something that go beyond this, and hopefully you created a family, hopefully you created a future, and hopefully you've made a difference.
If you're a business owner and you need advice on how to make your business more successful, then Business Connections Live TV is just for you.
Our leading industry experts cut out the guesswork for growing businesses. How to use social media, what to expect from your accountant, web design, SEO, and so much more.
Business Connections Live TV is here to give you the motivation you need to succeed.
How you doing? My name's Brad Burton. I'm the motivational speaker that everyone's talking about right now, and I'm on Business Connections Live. What a show. What a show. People, do check it out.
If you're struggling with Facebook and LinkedIn.
Most people that I meet are on LinkedIn. Virtually, you know, there's 14.5 million people just in the UK. I think the figures currently are 238 million people worldwide. But I would say that most of them don't really understand how to use it.
How to present your ideas more effectively.
Hello, I'm Philip Skinner, Shaw Walker Lees. A brilliant way to get message across. I'm actually thinking that we might switch away from our quarterly newsletter to do a video and get it sent through to staff and clients.
To generating leads and finding new business.
Hi, I'm Jim McLaughlin, Managing Director of business development company Axial. And I'd just like to say what a pleasure it's been to have the opportunity to appear on Business Connections Live.
Subscribe and be part of the Business Connections Live TV online community for free.
Business Connections Live TV every Wednesday, 6 p.m. GMT, or catch up on the Business Connections Live TV YouTube channel.
Make certain your business is connected with Business Connections Live TV. Fascinating. Do you think that subscribe button was not big enough? Could be just full screen, just... that's what we'd like you to do, if you don't mind. Please, thank you very much indeed. Just subscribe to the channel. That's fantastic. And if you are watching on YouTube, please do go to the site. If someone could just throw in the networking for dummies. We've had a bit of a problem, as I said, on the site over the week, and we did invite you to actually sign up during the week. We have got all the names of people that have signed up, your emails, so thank you very much indeed. Here it comes. I can feel it. Here it comes. Just bring it in. Thank you very much indeed. Just sling it over. Thank you. Oh, look at that. Perfectly done. There we go. Business Business networking for dummies, fantastic. If you'd like to get a hold of a copy like this, it's autographed by Stefan as well, for that matter. Let me check that he's brought that one. They're autographed by the author too. If you'd like to get a hold of that, just sign up on our website. It is www.businessconnectionslive.com. I've got something else I want to tell you about if you like a programme like this, and I'll tell you about that in just a moment. It's back to Helene Panzarino, highly successful business advisor and consultant, expert at pulling together financial plans for SMEs. We're talking about raising funds. That's what we're talking about this evening. Been fascinating so far. We looked at the raising the cash, the big mistakes that people make, the approach you should be using when you're going out there, and what they're looking for as well when you are talking to them. But what's the best way? How do you get the best advice out of your advisor? If I'm coming to you and I want to get my money's worth out of you, what are the right things that I need to be saying to you? Because I suppose you're the test, aren't you? You're the litmus paper that when I go into that room and I talk to you, you're going to be able to tell me pretty much there and then whether it's thumbs up or thumbs down, aren't you?
That's exactly right. And I would say one of the things that you really have to do is be honest. And that sounds like it's a very logical thing that we'd all do if you're going to ask somebody for help. But there are a number of times where we've started on things with people, and then we will do due diligence. So we'll find out if there are 5 CCJs sitting behind you. We'll find out if there are other things that we haven't discussed.
Do people really try it on?
Absolutely, all the time, because they think someone's not going to figure this out, which makes it worse later on. If you're upfront about it, then we can work a solution that might work for you. Or say to you, you know what, not right now. Go away, make this stronger, and then come back. Work with people on sales, for example, and then come back and it's the right time. If you don't give the advisor the information, and all the information, warts and all, it can't really help you make, an actual realistic presentation for what you want.
So be absolutely honest.
Yeah.
Is it different, shall we say, here in the UK when you're trying to raise those funds than what it would be maybe in the States? They talk in the States that if you go along there, if you haven't been in business and bankrupt twice, then you just don't have the experience. But over here we've got that stigma that if it's all gone wrong, if you've tried to run the business and it hasn't worked out, then really you're not a good bet anymore.
I think our systems, so maybe our financial systems, our banking systems, are not keeping pace with what's happened to people in the real world. Everybody knows somebody in 2008 suffered. So we're still getting out of that space, right? And that's still going to be difficult. If you've got not a clear track record and you're going to go for debt, you're probably going to struggle. I'm not saying that we couldn't find you some alternative. It might be more expensive, but we're still got a bit of a hangover from what happened in that time. And I think in the States it is easier. Everything is, I do a lot in technology, for example, so people's valuations are a lot bigger and everybody's ask is a lot bigger. And many people are coming to the UK with funds from the States and from other countries that want to pick up UK companies as investments because they see that there's a lot of creativity here. So I think we will get past it, but the best thing that you can do is make sure that your business actually functions well as a business, whether it's online or offline. It still has to do, have good margins, make money. Just because you're online doesn't necessarily mean that it's okay to lose a lot of money for endless periods of time. So, everyone's model is going to be slightly different, but you have to do that. And if you're working with an advisor to help you get a robust plan or a presentation that they know when they put you in front of people to introduce you to funds will be successful, you've got to give them the information. And I was a small business owner twice, and in the early days with financial background, I thought I could do it all myself. Second time around, I would quite have happily given lots of money to somebody to help me when I was selling the business, because I didn't know how to sell a business, for example. And I would say, ask other people that you trust for testimonials, for recommendations, and interview the advisor. What have you done? What are your successes? Who are you connected with? I can sit here and say I've helped 150 companies access £50 million over the last 18 months. And if you want to talk to a couple of them, that's fine.
And that's a real recommendation. The testimonial is the sell, really, isn't it? That's what I was going to tell you. Do you get many people who come to you and they say, look, I've got a successful business, we've got this XYZ turnover at the moment, and I'd like an exit plan?
Yeah.
I mean, is that, you know, here you're looking for someone to give you money to buy the thing off you?
Yes.
I mean, are we looking at the same? Do the same rules apply here? The people obviously the people you talk to are slightly different, but I mean, how do you go about doing that?
What is the same on that journey, and I experienced this myself, is that there's a run-up to the sell. So it's not going to happen 6 months from the time that we sit down and have this conversation. In most businesses, it's probably about a 3-year journey to looking where you are now. And when you're looking at a sale, an exit, you're thinking, okay, fine, who is potentially the buyer in the market? What is the gap that I fill for them? How are they behaving? You know, there's a lot of e-learning, for example, where people are absorbing, I do science, I do maths, let me, you know, absorb, because somebody like a Pearson might want to absorb all of us. You have to plan that, and everything that you do has to be driven towards achieving that end. And that might mean I need to make an acquisition along the way. So I raise funds to buy some IP from a competitor, because that's valuable when I go to make the sale later on. Definitely, it's the same kind of look at the journey, what is the finance involved at this end, and then what is the multiplier, what am I expecting to get at the other end, and what does that mean to me? If I'm in my mid-50s, as I am, and
You're not, surely.
It's all that skincare, right? And I want to enjoy my family more, I might want to sell for that reason. You know, there's different...
You sound like a politician now who's just resigned. I want to spend more time gardening.
There's different reasons people might want to sell. It might be to, you know, to return to the country they came from, to go spend more time with their family. It might be ill health. It might be just they realize that they've taken it as far as they can, and they're ready to let someone else take it to a much higher level. All great, but to get the best from that, you need to plan and make it as strong as possible for the exit. It's kind of ironic, because you're strengthening something to get rid of it, so you get the best return.
Listen, we're running out of time, and I cannot believe it. But a couple of quick questions then. Growth Accelerator, we see that all over the web.
Yeah.
Tell me about the Growth Accelerator.
Growth Accelerator is a fantastic program to help high-growth businesses either access finance or grow on the other areas, so marketing, premises, people. It's been a government-backed initiative that's delivered privately. So there's masterclasses and coaching and teaching you how to pitch and to
And has it been utilised, do you think, by industry in the main, or have people, or has it slightly under-delivered?
Well, I think they're probably about 15,000 businesses that are signed up to it now.
Wow.
And it is helping people access funds, and it is contributing to GDP, and people are learning, so that's what it was meant to do.
All right. Is there anything else I should have asked you? Because we've practically run out of time, actually. Is there any glaring omission from this particular programme when it comes to looking for finance for your business that we should have talked about?
The only thing I would say is whatever you're doing, make sure that you love what you're doing, because you're going to work a lot of hours and you're going to take a lot of risk, calculated risk, so you should really be committed to it and love what you're doing.
All right, then. Listen, I'm going to ask you to do your 3-minute preach now. Straight down. So it's camera number 3 is going to be your camera, that one over there. It's been a fascinating evening, actually. She says so as if she's surprised that it's coming along. It isn't. She knew it was going to happen. Don't forget, we've got this here. We've got Business Networking for Dummies if you sign up on the Business Connections Live website. Our guest on next week's programme is Philip Skinner of Shaw Walker Lees, who will be discussing rule changes to make pension contributions compulsory for employers and employees. It's known as auto-enrolment. It'll be, it doesn't sound quite as dull as it actually is not. So it's going to be a fascinating show. If you watched Philip on the last time he was on, the bloke is absolutely engaging, and it's something you've all got to be aware of. If you are a small to medium scale enterprise, if you've got maybe 1 to 10 employees, you've actually got to start being aware of this. And if you're working for a small business, you need to be very aware of this as well. If you found the show enjoyable and entertaining and interesting tonight, don't forget you can have a programme just like this one for yourself. We call it the Virtual Newsroom. All you've got to do is contact either myself, Steve Highland, or Linda Bazad at this email address, studio@Business Connections Live for the Virtual Newsroom. It's a new service from us here at Business Connections Live, which enables you to produce your own 15-minute news information programme for your customers and your employees. So why send out that boring newsletter when you can send out something that is engaging and informative and will feature you. People are switching off reading things. People like to sit back and they like watching things. Inform them. You can use testimonials in it. You can actually grab your audience and shake them warmly by the throat and get their attention. It's a great way of doing it. If you'd like more information on that, that email address again is... Oh, look at that. As if by magic. Studio at businessconnectionslive.com. Just contact us. OK, that pretty much wraps up everything on the program tonight, except for a little 3-minute wonder from Helene Panzarino, who is our highly successful... Did you write this highly successful bit?
No, you know, it's just what people say about me.
Well, there you go. I'll read it out as if it should be read out. Our guest tonight, Helene Panzarino, highly successful business advisor and consultant, expert at pulling together a financial plan for SMEs, and that could well be you. Helene, your 3 minutes, if you decide to accept them, start now. Do say who you are at the beginning as well. Straight down 3. Where you go.
So it's Helene Panzarino, and I am a highly successful entrepreneur, businesswoman, SME owner as well for many, many years, 25 years. I'm working predominantly in the area of helping you to access finance and to understand finance. And what I would say to every SME owner is plan. You have to plan, especially when it comes to finance. Business plan, know what you want your funding for, what time frame it's going to be used, work with someone to identify what that funding looks like. Learn about it, understand it as much as you can, because ultimately you are responsible. Seek advice. There are people like me and other people who are out there to help you. Interview them, question them, see what their success rate is like, but take advice, because on your own it's difficult to get it right the first time and every time. Get the funding and then get help on how to spend the funding. Don't go spend it all at once, or like Steve here, maybe just jump a plane to somewhere nice as well. And ultimately remember that it's about growth, and there are plateaus, and there are going to be highs and lows, and you'll need different funding at different times, but you should have fun on the journey. Enjoy what you do, and just make sure that you're always aware that you can continue to grow and go from plateau to plateau.
Absolutely fascinating. Hope you've enjoyed it this evening. It's been a fantastic night. Helene, please do come back on the programme in the future. It has been wonderful. Now, if you have any questions or anything like that, we can get them to Helene. As I said, a contact website is actually going to be sitting on our website, so you'll be able to go there. Just go to our website here. You'll also find it on our YouTube channel. Don't forget, do subscribe as well for that matter. You can also contact us on all social media, and do follow us on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you, and we can follow you back. Next week we kick off with our hashtag as well, which will be BC Live Show. That'll be the hashtag, and then you can actually be part of the conversation when we go live every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. Listen, from me, Steve Highland, and Helene, and all the rest of the crew here at Business Connections Live, thank you very much indeed for watching, and until next Wednesday at 6 o'clock, from all of us, it's bye for now. Bye-bye. If you're a business owner and you need advice on how to make your business more successful, then Business Connections Live TV is just for you.
Our leading industry experts cut out the guesswork for growing businesses. How to use social media, what to expect from your accountant, web design, SEO, and so much more.
Business Connections Live TV is here to give you the motivation you need to succeed.
How you doing? My name's Brad Burton. I'm the motivational speaker that everyone's talking about right now, and I'm on Business Connections Live. What a show! What a show! People, do check it out.
If you're struggling with Facebook and LinkedIn.
Most people that I meet are on LinkedIn. Virtually, you know, there's 14.5 million people just in the UK. I think the figures currently are 238 million people worldwide. But I would say that most of them don't really understand how to use it.
how to present your ideas more effectively.
Hello, I'm Philip Skinner, Shaw Walker Lees. A brilliant way to get message across. I'm actually thinking that we might switch away from our quarterly newsletter to do a video and get it sent through to staff and clients.
To generating leads and finding new business.
Hi, I'm Jim McLaughlin, Managing Director of business development company Axial, and I'd just like to say what a pleasure it's been to have the opportunity to appear on Business Connections Live.
Subscribe and be part of the Business Connections Live TV online community for free.
Business Connections Live TV every Wednesday 6 p.m. GMT, or catch up on the Business Connections Live TV YouTube channel.
Make certain your business is connected with Business Connections Live TV.